Oh, so crazy. Okay, come on. This is
it. No, we're on.
Oh.
We're live.
Well,
live.
Cheers to us. To us. Cheers, everyone. So, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Welcome to J&B After Dark. I just say that because it's nighttime.
I love
It's
it.
not technically, but we sort of have coined it that.
Well, After Dark is now
After Dark.
4:30, so.
That's true. That's true. Well, we are here with the Hover Girls again from Hover Girl Properties, and we
Hi,
have
Damika.
Laura and Joy.
How do you
And
see that?
I can't.
Hi, Damika.
Oh, she can see that.
I know, I
can't.
have really
She's
good
so-
vision.
Hi, Damika.
She does have good vision.
I do have good vision.
So we've
Patricia's
done a
here.
live before,
Yes.
which was so much fun. That was
Had a ball.
That was a ball.
Yeah.
It was a daytime.
Yes,
it was a daytime show.
it was summer. We were not wintry.
It was
Yeah,
summer.
it was a
And
summer show.
we talked about a lot of things
Yeah.
in addition to the real estate
We did.
goings on. You might get my passcode again. So we're going to talk about some things that are happening now. Maybe a few months later, some things have changed.
Absolutely.
So we
They
want
are.
to keep our readers kind of like up to date on what's going on in real estate and the buying and the selling because it's really important. But do you want to just give a quick blurb about you guys?
Yeah, I
your
think we
business
should
again?
say, because not everybody
Some
knows
new-
you.
might
That's
have
like
new
joining.
viewers.
Okay,
Correct.
well, here's who we are. Yes, absolutely. This is Laura.
I'm Laura Yale. This
I'm
is
Joy, and we are the co-founders of Hover Girl Properties. We started, really, we were friends first. I always love to say that, and we're still friends, which
Always.
girl
It's
power.
really like the same story,
Yeah, I know, yeah.
different business.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So I say, girls need to be each other's best supporters. We should all be cheerleading each other on, and that's what Laura and I have done for each other, honestly.
And our kids, the whole thing.
Yeah, so now today is we end 2018. We just had our biggest year in real estate.
Did you?
We
We
did.
did. It was
So
great.
we went
Good
over,
year.
we did. And I
Congrats.
brag about it
That's
because
the thing.
I love that we went over 50 million in sales.
What?
And
Wait, maybe
which
I
is
need my real
crazy.
estate license.
As a company, as a company, yeah, everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
Be our side gig. We'll
Yeah,
become
come
Hover
on.
Girls.
Side hustle.
They could be the Hover Girl nights.
After dark.
And then we do property management too, which is its own beast and a lot of fun. And what's cool about that is no matter what the market's doing, we really can be of service to people buying, selling, renting, or being a renter or renting your own property. So we kind of stay involved in all aspects. And so,
You got to have a
So
roof,
they
whether you buy it or
started-
rent it.
yes.
Doing property management really for Navy families.
Yep.
We did.
Hovering
Yes,
like
hovering.
helicopters.
Right.
My hubby was a helicopter pilot in the Navy, and that was hence the name of it. And really, though,
Because
we
there's so much
branched out.
transition, and you guys had it as well,
Yes.
and so you wanted to solve that problem for.
We literally saw a need and thought,
Yeah,
well,
let's do it.
we were doing it for each other anyway.
Right.
They moved to Tennessee. I went with her to help them find. Her husband had nothing to do with it other than he signed the paperwork, but we picked the house out.
Yeah.
We faxed it to him back then.
Oh,
We
yeah.
can't fax
Google,
anymore.
Google what a fax is, y'all.
I remember faxing.
Okay.
I do remember faxing.
So, and now you're a full service
We are.
real estate
are.
agency.
Yeah, we are. And we have agents all over Jacksonville, really kind of up to the Georgia line, down to St. Augustine, out to the west side, Oak Leaf Plantation. And so we kind of have agents where we're a little unique from other people, I think, is that we try to have agents in each area that kind of located and are in that area because they're the experts. That's where they live. That's where their kids go to school. That's where they go to church. That's where they eat. Because I know I've lived in Jacksonville probably 5 or 6 places, and I kind of take 5 square miles, and that's really kind of how I do life.
Right. That's
So-
my Publix.
That's
Your
right.
little
That's
spot,
my
that everybody stays in their little
yeah.
area.
So if you have an agent out of the beach and you're a customer that needs Orange Park,
Right.
I mean, you can do it, but it certainly wouldn't.
Well,
put
and that's
yourself in
something
a
that we've learned over the years just with
Mm-hmm.
our business because one of the things that we have is neighborhood groups. And so we have an Orange Park neighborhood group, we have a Beaches Intercoastal. And
Right.
one of the reasons we created those groups was because in the beginning, someone would say, hey, I'm new to town, I'm looking for a pediatrician. And they'd get 100 comments of pediatricians all over Jacksonville.
Yeah,
And they're like, oh, by the way, I live in Orange Park. And they're like, oh, that just takes off pretty much
Everybody.
3/4 of the
Right,
answer.
exactly.
So it is.
You girls are the OGs.
What's
yeah.
that?
Oh.
The OGs, like their original.
the
We're the
original.
original.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. My
They're
kids
the-
are 30. I don't talk like that.
Sorry, they're the OGs of Jack's mom's blog.
We are the OGs.
So sorry. Gotta get my Urban Dictionary out later.
Okay, so
We'll
let's
teach you all sorts of
I took
things.
some notes, but we're just gonna kind of
Yeah.
wing it.
Well, first I was gonna
Oh.
say that Danielle Caro, but I don't know how to say her last name, said, "Hi, Laura. Hover Girl's helping us relocate from California right now. They're
That's
the
Danielle,
best."
I know,
Yeah.
and Jimmy James, her man.
I
Yes.
love it.
And listen, they found us through y'all. So that's
Yeah.
it's amazing.
High five,
I know,
high five.
yeah, it's great. They're great.
That's awesome.
I love them. Hi,
Yeah.
Danielle. Hi, Jimmy.
Amazing.
It's fun.
Okay, so
So
y'all can go in.
last
That's
time
just
you were here,
Mhm.
I feel like it was still a seller's market. Do you think it was?
in June.
Yeah,
In
I
June,
think
was it June?
summer
Yeah.
was strong.
Mhm.
I think as we got to, we entered into fall. The market has changed a little bit.
Right.
It really was a very much a seller's market, and
Yeah.
now it's not that it's not a seller's
Right.
market, but the buyer is in the game.
Yes.
They're no longer just running the
Well,
show.
and one of the things you said to me was that there's so much new construction,
yes.
and so there's a lot of incentive to choose new construction over.
Yeah, so
resale.
yeah, right. I mean, that's an indicator. So you look at all these indicators. What's the market doing? First of all, if we knew exactly what the market were doing, we'd be gazillionaires, and we wouldn't be here tonight. We'd be in the Caribbean.
Oh, you still want to hang out with us?
That's right. I would.
We would just be in the Caribbean.
Exactly. We'd be in a different location. But which there's nothing wrong with Atlantic Beach, people. Anyway, but we have indicators, and one of them is what are builders doing for new construction buys, and you can see the incentives are getting a little bit bigger, a little bit more lucrative. The builds are getting a little faster. There for a while, it was getting spread out, longer build time. That's
Right.
kind of getting shorter, and that's just because they're not as
Well, and
busy.
I feel like a lot of new interesting neighborhoods are popping up. There's that one on the north side, right? Wild.
Yes.
Oh,
Wildlife.
yeah.
Wildlife,
Yeah,
that
that
was
is
some good
interesting.
memory. Good
Uh-huh.
memory.
But now there's
Eve
beach
Town.
walk.
Beach
Yes.
walk.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't speak to it yet.
I've seen the
I need
advertisement
to
for it,
see- yes,
but it
yes.
seems like it's going to be very resorty.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. There's
With like
a lot of good press on
Yes,
it.
there's
There
very good
is.
press on it.
Yeah.
And then E-Town.
E-Town,
Right,
yeah.
right,
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's like,
So there's a ton of new construction happening.
Speaking to the incentives that you were talking about, so with Danielle and Jimmy, we were down at Shearwater.
Yep.
And the builder there is giving a $30,000 incentive,
Yep.
right? Yes,
Wow.
Danielle. Plus really
Way to
$5,000 in closing costs. So
Wow.
$30,000 incentive could be in the form of they were going to do appliances and blinds, or a straight reduction off the price of the house.
wow.
And I think they were at like a 480-ish price point.
Yeah.
So $30,000 on that is a lot.
That
and then
is a lot.
their lender, their in-house lender, is another $5,000 towards your closing costs.
Wow.
So I mean we haven't seen that, and
So
Right.
that's an indicator.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
can I just say this? Too, there's a lot of misconception if you go the new construction route that you walk in and the builder is going to take care of you. You still want to have representation.
Do you mean
For
it's
real.
a nightmare?
I do mean it's a nightmare, and here's what I'm telling you: the builder will convince
hit a
you.
nerve?
Listen,
Did we hit a nerve?
let me tell you something from experience.
Go
When you
ahead.
build a house,
Go, girl.
you need an advocate, and it should be your realtor.
Yes.
And if you don't have that, and you've never built a house before, it is going to be nightmarish.
And so here's the key. Let me just speak to that for a second. People will think, I'm just going to go look at models, and then when I get serious, I'm going to bring a realtor. Do not do that. When you go into a builder, they have you fill out a little piece of
Yes,
paper,
and they
and they're
call
really,
you.
but what they're really wanting to do is say, okay, well, you didn't have representation,
Right.
and now that we're going to negotiate, you're kind of out of luck. You have to negotiate yourself. Again, just like when my husband was a helicopter pilot, I didn't go and get in the aircraft and try to fly with him because he knew what he was doing. I
Yeah.
did not. It's the same concept.
It is.
You need somebody to know what they're doing to speak the language, and that's really,
It's so true.
yeah.
dial in Asha Chichilla, who just closed, young, new construction. You
Yeah.
think it's going to be? We were there with her every step of the way, and frankly, it's needed.
It's
And well,
needed.
sometimes you pick a model or a floor plan and you think, and then it's not, and then the builder wants to steer you one way, but really you need someone to say, well, do you need a bigger or different type of
Right, or just think about it a different way.
think
Right.
about it a different way.
It's experience.
It is.
And that, as I say this over and over again, when you're choosing your realtor, whoever it is,
Yeah.
they need to not be your friend. They need to have experience. They need to know what they're doing and can speak the language.
Well, even
for
like
you.
finishes and upgrades, if
Yes.
you should do them after you close.
Right, right.
Or during, all that stuff.
all of those
Yeah.
are just great questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
I see that Allison Chance is watching.
Oh,
Hey, our
okay,
sweet
Al.
Allison Chance is coming back from
Woo!
Cali.
Yay!
Let's give a
Cheers
cheers.
to
Oh,
that.
cheers to
Chancey.
Chancey.
So
We love her.
Allison was on the Jacksonville Moms Blog team, and she was also
a
a
Hover
Hover Girl.
And we love her. Since she left, she's had the cutest baby boy. We
Yes.
follow him
Oh
on
my
social
gosh,
media.
He's
That's
so
right.
cute.
Yes, and we can't wait
We
to
were
hear
just
that.
talking about you, Allison.
Yeah, we were.
We were. We'll
But
call
I
you
was-
later and tell you
Yes,
what.
I will
Yeah,
call you later. I don't want to say it out loud on the live.
She was one of our youngest
But-
team members.
Yeah.
Like a couple when
Couple
she
years
first
ago.
joined
Is that
the
right?
team. Yeah,
Yes.
and we were all out to dinner one night as a team. We were talking about it in our team meeting, and we were like, "Who is the oldest? Who is it?" You know, we were trying to see the
Right,
span of
right.
our team.
Yeah.
And Allison, I think at the time was like 26 or 27.
26,
Yeah. And,
And I was like,
and we and Vicky was like,
Someone in their
so
20s.
funny.
Yes.
But we,
Yeah.
because that's kind of our span though.
That is our span.
Mid 20s
Yeah.
to
New moms.
mid
And
40s,
she's
late
Good,
40s.
yeah. You guys are a wealth of information for moms that are trying to figure it out. You guys are all doing it.
100%.
It's good.
Yeah.
100%. Awesome.
So do we want to talk about, in addition to it maybe turning into a buyer's market, the ages, the millennials?
Yes.
Mention that. That was a good segue.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Because Allison is a
You're
millennial,
welcome,
right?
Ashley.
I-
Yes,
yeah, I think
she
so.
is a millennial.
She's smack dab in the
She's
middle
for
of it.
sure a millennial.
And I know this because my children are of that age group, which is just crazy. Anyway, while we're talking about it, I'm going to put a picture of my grandchild.
Oh yeah,
Joy
Joy has.
I told her, I was like, I have to
baby.
show you guys the cutest picture.
You have
Hold
lots
on.
of babies. You have 3.
Okay, this is
and a fourth on the
Chandler,
way.
Joy.
Joy.
What? Okay, hi Chandler, Joy.
We just had
Sorry.
dinner with her.
We just
She's
had dinner with her.
beautiful.
Anyway, so back to the millennials that are having these cute babies. The truth is that as the market changes, so does really how people view it. And so, all the research says most of the people buying and selling homes, really for the first time, especially 25 to 35-year-olds. So you take that group of people and you say, how do they process what's going on in the market? And the truth is, the generation before that, really to be a success, you had to own a home. Well, this generation, it was not parented that way. So they see things differently. They're slower
Yeah.
to make a decision. They're okay to rent. They don't see that as, the be all end all. Just, they're a failure. Thank goodness. That's for another segment.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there's that. But really,
Well, and also they're waiting longer to get married.
they're waiting longer to get
Oh,
married.
yes.
Who are you telling?
I know, right?
Okay, just kidding.
Don't touch a
Just
nerve.
kidding.
Sorry.
Just kidding. But no, they just process slower.
Yeah.
They're going back to school
That's
more.
right.
They're getting married later. They're having kids later. Even if they get married, they want to do other things. Blah blah blah. So, where it comes to the home buying, they're just a little bit slower to kind of process it all. So, how do you, really help that group of people? The thing is that it's never a bad idea to own real estate. Traditionally,
Correct.
if you go out 200 years and look at the people that made money and really have money at the end of their life or retirement or whatever, it is people that typically have real estate. So that's just the truth.
Well, I've always looked at it as a savings account.
It's a savings account, right? And
Long term.
but the millennials
correct.
will, again, statistically buy 3 homes in a 10-year span, where just 10 years later, when somebody buys a home, they're 5 to 10 years. So
Right.
just that little tweak of a change. But some people
Are they? So now, today, what's the down payment situation? Like, remember, you could buy a home without having money down at one point.
Yep. And then that kind of changed a little
It
bit.
changed.
Everybody kind of got freaked out.
Right.
And I would say it's not, I mean, there have been some things put in place that because of the 2006, 7, and 8 crash that happened, you know, basically if you had a pulse, you could get a loan. So that
happened to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's a bad idea.
It
But
was bad.
now you do have to qualify. You can still, there are loans that are 3 to 5% down, but you are going to pay PMI insurance, which again is not the end of the world. And it depends on your market. If you're in a rising
3 to
market,
5, but that's pretty good.
It is good.
Yeah.
And for our VA, of course, you can still do your zero down using your VA loan.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
great.
And what our market has done, I've had 2 buyers who did the 3 to 5%. They got equity in the home, and just a year later have been able to have the home appraised and pull out on the PMI. Which again, that's part of having somebody knowing what they're doing. Don't get into a loan that you can't do that,
Right.
or be penalized for it and things like that. You really do. And this is what we were talking about earlier. Unfortunately, the generation, it's great to have information. It's also can be a
Bad.
detriment.
There's
Right.
so many bad things
Right. And when,
and good things.
yeah.
But it can be an overload of information.
Correct.
Well, right. And just because one person says it on a blog
Right.
does not make it.
So what we were talking about is we have a lot of forums, again, back to the neighborhood groups, and sometimes moms will join these groups that haven't moved here yet, and they're just trying to like meet some people or get some information, and it is a great place to get information. But one question we see a lot is, hey, I'm moving to Jacksonville, where's the best place to move to? And then we get, obviously inundated with opinions from everybody, from moms that live in St. Johns County, from moms that live in Duval County, live in Nocatee, live in the North. So some people are saying, don't Duval schools, no, go to St. Johns County, but we know that that's not.
That's just a broad.
It's just a very broad
Well,
statement.
it all
so
depends on what's important
it
to you.
is
Yeah.
correct.
Or
Here-
like
here is
where
a
you work.
life
Or
lesson. Okay, here's my life lesson.
Yes, tell us.
The life lesson,
here comes the cat.
kitty cat,
Where's
is
the cat?
this: is that everyone needs
Don't
to
go to Laura.
investigate and know what's best for them.
Right.
Only you know really what's best for
Well,
you.
even let's just say this: sometimes when you see pictures, even of a home, when you go and visit it in person.
Oh, sure. And smell it.
Yes, smell it.
For sure, smell it. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yes,
Well,
it's
exactly.
almost. Yeah, I get it though.
Yeah.
Because sometimes those fancy photographers
With the fisheye
with
lens.
the fisheye lens.
Yeah.
Make things look.
I'm like, wow, that's so bright and big.
Well, it's funny because we were one of the first realtors that really talked about how we would FaceTime and do a lot of virtual, and
Right.
a lot of people have picked up the cause there, which is great.
Yeah.
But you do need somebody that's going to have high integrity and be honest with you and be able to say, okay, I'm going to come out of your house now and let's look to the left, let's look to the right,
We're
let's
getting in the car,
FaceTime out
we're
of a
going,
neighborhood.
yeah.
This is
Well,
what.
and I mean, going back to the comments on, I've seen people really trash, that aren't having a good experience here.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll just say, don't bother, and they'll like try. And then this is someone who's trying to move here. and,
Sure. Yeah.
you
It's
know,
not
so,
great.
so the power of information is
Yes.
good and bad.
correct. Always.
Yeah.
And listen, when somebody says something so broad, all the Duval County schools, don't ever live in Duval County schools. Okay, there are lots of people that have been educated in Duval County,
Yeah.
and it's great. You
Yeah.
just,
Well, there's a lot of
again,
A schools.
Yeah. Of course. Of
well,
course.
and not just that, and don't get tricked by the A school
Yes,
either.
that's
So
true.
that's
It
you
is
know, it's
true.
an A school, and meanwhile your kid's getting bullied, it's not really working out for your kid.
Right,
So, you know what I'm
right.
saying?
It
You
doesn't
know-
mean everything.
You know your child best and where your kids need to be.
Correct.
Bottom line is, in real estate and any other facet of your life, do your homework.
So let me ask you a question. When you do get someone from out of state or out of, that has never really experienced, what are some of the things that you ask them to match them up with a neighborhood, really, or a part of town if they don't know?
Well, the chief concern for a lot of people is their commute, and it's all relative. If they're coming here from Virginia, they think the commute's not that bad, but that's your everyday quality of life is important. Where your kids are going to hang out, and how far is your drive to your job, and things of that nature. Do you have pets? To kind of be in a pet-friendly neighborhood.
You may have
Kind
a
of a
child
lot
that
of-
has special needs and
Right.
needs to go to Nemours 3 times a week.
Right.
And that, the
Right.
last thing
Yeah.
you want, it can be all kinds of things. So you really want to see their story.
Right.
What is their story?
Right. Does your daughter take Irish tap dancing and you need to live in St. Johns County near the Irish tap dancing school?
Right. Exactly.
Yes, we've done that.
We've
Really?
done that.
Of course.
And
yeah.
she's great.
And
Kingsley took Irish dancing.
But I mean, that's exactly it, though. I mean, 100 kids might not do that, but for them,
That was
Well,
important.
some
course,
people
yeah.
like, I need to be by the beach.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
But
for-
can I tell you, by the beach is relative.
That's
Yes,
very- yeah.
because somebody who has always lived in a landlocked state thinks that
2
just
hours.
living in
Yes.
Jacksonville,
That's right.
yeah,
You live
45
here-
minutes.
That's
is close.
right.
Yeah.
You
By
live
the
here from
beach.
Missouri, and Orange Park is close to the beach.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yes.
So again, just listening to people, budget. It's always budget driven.
Right.
Right.
I'm a big person that tries to say don't be house poor. Just because a lender's going to give you money does not mean you want to do that. Like, what's your lifestyle? I like to eat out. If that mortgage is going to cause me not to be able to go to Cooper's
Right.
Hawk once a month,
We ain't missing a meal, y'all.
then that's enough.
Oh, you want to?
Yeah, exactly. But again, but then there's other people, they want to cook all the time. God bless you. That's not me. My kitchen really doesn't need to be a kitchen. It could be a bedroom.
Joyce.
Anyway,
She's a great cook.
when I cook, but I don't cook a lot. But no, in all seriousness, what's your lifestyle? Some
Right,
people with
yeah.
kids are on, swim teams, whatever. You just want to hear that.
Figure out
and-
what's best for you. Well, when you were saying the thing about people in the neighborhood groups giving all their different opinions, it's like reading reviews on Yelp. You get there's so many
Oh,
people that
goodness.
say something, and then you get that one person that's trashing.
Or
You
an
can't
Amazon
base-
product.
Yeah.
The one bad review, and you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't get this.
I know.
When you get judged by one blog post out of millions that you put out every.
See, I feel like we're talking about
Yeah.
something. Let me give you a little
Getting
statistic
specific.
about reviews, though. I think this is
Well,
very
let's talk about that for a
true,
second.
yeah.
Because I feel like, no, what are you going to say? Because I
Well,
was going to go in a
I'm
different
just
direction.
back it up with facts. The facts of
Yeah.
the matter is 8 out of 10 reviews are simply people who have been mad. They're not, the happy people don't think about
They don't
making a
review
review.
as much.
That's
That's
right.
true.
So if everybody is hanging your hat on the reviews, then take that double, make 8, in your mind, okay, 3 people didn't like that, but 10 people did. That's really 30 people that did.
Right.
Because I don't leave reviews on products.
Correct.
Sometimes, but rarely.
Yeah.
Correct. So,
And when you do, they're to the positive or to the negative?
or you one of those?
I know. See,
I-
case in point, right?
I
Like
don't
that's
really take my time to say something super negative about
I don't
something.
think I've ever left
It
a
would have
negative,
to be
like,
a-
really bad.
Yeah,
I
it would have
don't,
to
I
be
don't.
something that is like a terrible
Disturbing.
experience.
Right.
Yeah.
But I feel like I would more take that to a person that would matter within that company
Correct.
versus just
Me.
writing off
and then
the
it's out there
entire
for and
company.
then
Yes.
what you put out there, it's out there forever for
Yeah.
the consequences to be.
I have
For everyone
never
to
made a
see.
negative review. I'm not going to say
I
that
don't
at
think
the
I
end of
have either.
something that I haven't called the manager and said,
Right,
hey, just to
that's-
give you a little
yes.
feedback because I own my own company.
Yes.
That, but really, I feel like sometimes it's just maybe, and it's so cowardly to sit behind a keyboard, in my opinion, and shoot out negative things.
You could just come up with fake names. Like you could have 10,
Oh.
10 fake profiles or fake names and start trolling pages and stuff.
People do that.
People do that.
People have
People
done
do
that
that.
to us. People have done that
We
to
know
us.
someone.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we're not joking. It's real. People.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're
We know.
digressing.
Now we're not even on this thing. Now we're just.
We've gone rogue.
Because it's our second last one. No, in all seriousness, though, the point to that is please take what people say with a grain of salt.
Exactly.
Unless you know them. Like,
Right.
if you're on a post and you don't even know that person, please.
Right.
Right.
Take it as a factor, but please don't, make a
A life decision.
$300,000
Yeah.
decision
on
on
what some
that.
random person said.
Yeah. And especially in real estate, it's really the biggest purchase you make. So please, please, please do your homework, have a good realtor, somebody you trust, and proceed with caution.
Y'all are getting some shout outs. Catherine Thomas said, love Hover Girls.
Oh,
I
hey.
bought my first house with them.
That's so. I love the shouting out.
I know. And then Amber Renee says, miss living across the street from
She's
you,
my
Laura.
old
I can't
neighbor,
believe how the boys are so grown up.
My
I'm so
boys
happy
are
for your
grown up.
success
I
and
know.
all those working alongside you too.
Listen, she was my neighbor across the street in Marsh Sound, where you lived.
Where?
Yeah.
She was my neighbor, yes, and
I
I loved
was
her.
her
I
tenant.
love it.
Shoot.
I love it.
Laura
That's
was
a good tenant.
Vicky's landlord at one point.
I was.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's
small-
so fun.
Jacksonville's big, but it's really not.
It's,
Right.
yeah,
That's right.
that's so true.
Yes.
We drove by that neighborhood. Now that's a great neighborhood.
It is.
It's very much
that
so,
way.
Their
yeah.
Christmas lights are off the chain this
That
year.
whole area, Ibis,
Yeah.
Osprey, and Marsh Sound is
Yeah,
great.
right off of San Pablo.
I remember we went trick or treating in there. Kingsley still talks about it. She was like, "That was a fun neighborhood to go
That
trick
It was a
or
great
treating."
neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's a good neighborhood
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. So well, what else? We've got a few more minutes. Is there anything
Well,
else?
I
Or
was
does
just
anybody
gonna
have any
say-
questions too?
Yeah,
You can leave them in
anybody?
the comments while we're still chatting a little bit.
So while you're thinking about that, let's talk about if you're a renter.
Okay, yeah.
That's good.
What's important?
Mm-hmm.
Because now you're saying people are renting longer. Is that the
People are
consensus?
renting longer, and this is what I would say. It's not the end of the world to rent. However,
Mm-hmm.
when you rent, know who your landlord's going to be. Know
Who am I calling when
who
I have
am
my
I
air
calling
goes
when I
out?
have a maintenance issue.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Who you calling, Vicky? Me.
You were by far
The best.
the best.
I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah. No, but it's true.
Well, I
It's
can
true.
imagine.
I've had some. Well,
Yeah.
when we had the house, on Seminole, and the one that I had a short sell because I
Yes,
bought it in
yeah.
2006 or 7
Yeah,
or whatever,
yeah.
and we had to rent it, and we weren't even making the mortgage
I know.
and rent, and we basically had to take anybody, and there was a property manager, and
Yeah.
when we had to come back to that house, they had all these like boys with dogs. Like it was bad.
It's bad.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people in their life, either themselves or their friends, everyone's got a bad rental story.
experience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's not always that way. You really have to vet the properties that you're taking in,
Right.
that you want to manage. And when you have prospective applicants, you're going to do yourself a huge favor by screening people and doing your due diligence. And I totally get a house sitting empty is an emergency for...
That was part of
Everybody-
it too. When it's
Yeah.
sitting
Yeah, it's
empty,
empty,
even for
you're-
1 month.
I know, girl,
Yeah.
you're paying
It's
to
a
maintain
lot.
it and the utilities.
It's a lot. It's a lot,
Yeah.
for sure.
I'm sorry that happened to you,
Thanks.
but I'm glad we met.
But no, you
And I'm glad I short sold that house.
Yes. Some
It's the
people
best
you
thing
had
we
to-
ever did.
Yes, it's a
and then
hardship.
you were patient.
We were
Yeah.
patient. We
And you
waited years
waited.
for our
Mhm.
credit to
Yeah.
repair.
Mhm.
And all worked out.
Where we're different when we vet a tenant, unlike a lot of agencies, is we put a package to.
So cold.
It's the sick cup.
It is
I
it's
know,
so
right?
cold, right?
I
though,
know,
right? It's so
right?
cold in here.
So we put a package together and we present it to the owner. So we are not technically saying this is your tenant. That's a little different,
Yeah.
rather than you kind of getting, you get a say. And I think
Yeah.
that that's really an important piece. And again, when we kind of made our property management how we were going to do it, it was because we had had some bad experiences. And
Yes, living your life.
Yeah.
That was a bad time, though.
it was a dark time.
2007, 2008.
It was very bad.
It was really bad.
Can I tell you?
People were in a bad way.
Yeah.
One of the first homes we sold, there was a program that happened that the Navy, or actually the military, was called HAP, Housing Assistance Program, and they came in and paid the difference between what somebody had paid and what a home was now worth. And it was not
Oh.
It was
uncommon,
unreal.
okay? In 06, 07, 08, for them to be writing $100,000 to $150,000 checks
Per
right here
person.
per person in Jacksonville,
Wow.
Florida. So it was a dark time for a lot
Wow.
of
Yes.
people.
I didn't get that money.
No,
Well, because you're not a service member.
Oh.
Yeah, that was.
So
yeah,
you had to meet certain criteria, and being military was one of them. And it was
but that money
Active
went out.
military?
Yeah.
yes, you had to meet certain criteria, have orders within certain time, have bought the house in a certain amount of time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And yeah, you
But
had to-
imagine you met them.
and you're sitting at the
Oh,
closing table with a
people-
six-figure check for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers,
Your difference?
getting you out from under the hardship. Yeah, it was bad.
Oh my goodness.
People would cry at the table.
It's gone,
I'm-
y'all.
I'm
It's
tearing
gone.
up thinking
Don't
about
tell
it.
me
Sorry.
about it. It doesn't exist anymore. But when it did, it was a game changer for a lot of people.
Yeah,
That-
yeah,
yeah.
Wow,
Mhm,
that's
yeah.
crazy.
So,
All right,
All right,
any,
what
any
else?
questions? I know
no
y'all want to stay on
questions, but-
forever.
I know.
I
It
know.
is fun.
It's so
It's a lot of
We
fun.
do have fun with y'all.
We got a few more
we do.
minutes.
We
The
love.
nighttime's fun too.
See?
It's
Yeah.
different.
Mhm.
It's dark.
Well, and we're so
JMB
well
after
lit.
dark.
It's very well lit. It's good lighting in here.
Oh, I thought you meant.
Oh.
Oh, we're getting lit? Okay.
Oh, see, she does know some
I do
stuff.
know a couple of
She
words.
does. Oh, she knows a couple.
I
Oh
feel
my
like this
God.
is just getting real fun.
It's
We
just
better clock out.
Listen,
We better punch out.
Anyways,
Turn
we
it
are
off.
very happy that we still are working with the Hover Girls.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
yes.
It's so fun.
And it's always a good time, and we'll be sure to do it again.
Yes.
Always a good time. We are
Yes.
very grateful for you girls.
Thank you.
And
what
just-
you do is amazing.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I would say keep the positivity that you do and the good things that you do because it does matter. And I think that always attracts far more than the negative is out
So do
there.
I.
sure.
You're showing your kids how to behave.
Mhm.
You know what I
We
mean?
do.
Absolutely.
Now we
Yeah.
have 2 questions, right?
Okay.
We're going to sign off, but here we go.
Okay.
Cassie says that she had one. I think she's talking about what we were talking about.
The hat?
The hat.
Hat?
She says, does Hover Girl work with veterans or just active duty? They work with everyone.
Oh, everybody.
Yeah, they work with everyone.
Civilians
And
too.
civilians.
And
Yeah,
civilians,
civilians too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
These girls
everyone.
are civilians.
Yeah, we are.
So, yeah. But that's a great question because
That
I do
is,
think
yeah.
sometimes people think
That
that
it's
we are
That you
only
only
military.
work with
we
Yeah.
have to
military.
do
Yeah.
and we only do that. No, we do everybody as long as you're nice.
There's a
That's
screening
hilarious.
process.
There's a screening process.
That's funny.
And then Johanna asked, what are your thoughts on buying property and building while you are in another state?
Okay, let's talk about that, Johanna, because
See,
she
that
wants
seems
to.
personal too.
I
yeah.
told her
Mhm.
she should build. She wants a vacationing home in Boone.
North
They go
Carolina.
there a
yeah.
lot.
I see.
And I said, buy some property and build because she can't find what she wants. And
Okay.
she's nervous about building and not being
There
Well, that-
Probably
during
have
the
to find a
process.
project manager there.
Her concern is legitimate, right?
Yeah.
And that's what Joy was speaking to earlier. Even though you're building something, I'm not saying don't just rely on the builder, but you need to have someone who's got your best interest, who's
Yeah.
going to go to the
Present.
property and
But,
check.
but it's
comment
doable.
section.
It's
Oh,
doable.
it's totally doable. Yeah.
Two things I would say. You
Sorry,
vet,
I just called you.
Sorry, Johanna.
vet your builder.
Well, she put it
We
out
were
there.
talking about it.
Yeah,
the other
you
day.
want to know that you have a good
And I want to
builder.
stay in the house, actually. Make it 5 bedrooms, please.
We're going to
Where-
Boone.
where
We're all
exactly?
coming. We're all
Boom.
coming.
And then the other thing is have somebody that can take pictures for you regularly to update the process. And if you're building and it's really technically a business and you go to visit it, it is, I'm not a tax person, but I think you can write that off.
We can make that a regional office.
Yeah.
Correct. I feel like we're going to do
There we go.
this at night.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. And then Lindy has a random question. Is a double vanity and a master a must-have these days?
Oh, I would say so.
Yes.
Yeah, look at this. 4 girls right here. Double
I would
vanity.
say so, yes.
I think
Yes.
it's helpful for the relationship.
I agree.
Right, y'all?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think so.
And it's good for resale.
Of course.
But if you have to live in Riverside or Avondale in
In
a
a
tiny
smaller
house
home, yeah.
that's, because you want to live there and it's all very old and nostalgic and all that, you might not get the double vanity and that's
Yeah.
okay because you want to live there.
Right.
That's true.
Molly is asking, what are a couple of things you recommend doing to your home if you're thinking about selling?
Oh.
We touched on this last time a little
Yeah,
bit.
we
right?
did touch on
We
it
did.
a little
Right,
bit.
and so you're always going to serve yourself well to keep your house decluttered and really all the things you see on TV and have it clean. We've talked about doing a pre-listing home inspection, how beneficial that is for when prospective buyers come, that they know that they have a proactive seller that's taking care of their house and kind of leads to a good transaction. So I think that's a great thing to do if you're a seller, to get a pre-listing home inspection. But again, just keep your house clean. The
Yes.
bleach,
Well, and
the
like
lemon,
all the clutter.
the
The
clutter.
clutter.
Y'all,
They
we
want to
go
see
in
the house.
houses,
They don't
we-
want to see your stuff.
And we go
Yeah.
in houses with buyers. When I'm out with a buyer looking around, and you can't believe what sellers are not doing. They're not cleaning their air registers.
Yeah.
They're not, just a spruce up of the lawn, the mulch, kind of make it shine. There's a lot of competition out there, and you want to look good.
Right. And
So-
I would say too, if it's time to paint, be very neutral.
Yeah.
Because if people go in and while you might think those colors are great, maybe someone else might think it's a
Lime
clown
green
house.
bedroom.
And, yeah, and you would not believe, even though I know, gosh, I could paint that. Not everybody thinks that way.
I
Well,
know.
sometimes it's hard to see it
It
how you
is.
want to see it. Yeah.
For sure.
And a coat of paint always makes things smell good too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
For sure.
Thanks, Molly.
Okay.
All right. That's about it. There were just a little things.
Yeah,
and
perfect.
yeah.
Awesome.
Fun. Thanks,
Well, it was
gals.
fun to do this. Thanks for
Yeah.
having us again.
Yep.
We'll
Yeah.
keep you posted on the
Signing off.
There we
from
go.
Atlanta.
Megan's gonna have to
I gotta get up and turn off the camera.
Nighty night.
Bye.
See you.